Beautiful people, what is up, man? Welcome back to another episode of Sunday Sessions with Rich podcast. I believe this is episode 117. So I'm just gonna keep saying the number every time because that shit is still wild to me. But this guest, Indy, Indy, you are the most played like total ever that I've had on the show. People have been wanting you back on. This is
Really?
yes, yes. This is
Wow.
part two a year later.
A year later, and
Yeah,
this was not planned.
not
Like it
planned at
was
all.
very divine timing.
Crazy. Now, for those who don't know about you, please let us know who you are and what you got going on, Dr. Indy Einstein.
Okay, I'm Dr. Indy Einstein. How do I even like this question is the hardest thing ever. I never know how to describe myself, and when I do, I feel like it constantly changes. Dr. Indy Einstein, I guess, I don't even know what my title would be because like what I do is basically like my lifestyle. So I've never really coined like a title for my spiritual career.
Yeah,
But I always say I'm a spiritual free agent, so we can start there.
facts.
I'm a spiritual free agent, meaning I have no affiliations, no agendas. The only role I have is my divine role. But other than that, I'm not tied to any sort of like organization, mindset, philosophy, religion, or anything like that. I'm kind of just navigating like life and with that spirituality in the most like divine timing sort of way. And I
Yeah,
feel like along that journey, I started sharing this with other people through like my social media accounts. And from there, I naturally just started to like attract people to my page through like, and it wasn't even like teachings. Like I wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get on Twitter and like teach people and like start a career.
mhm.
It was very natural. Um, so that's why I don't have a name for it because I just feel like everything that has led me to where I am right now, as far as like a career goes or a public persona or how the world sees me was all natural, and it really is just like indie, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
my career is just being indie, and because life and spirituality are one and the same, that's just like what it is. So I'm Dr. Indy Einstein, the spiritual free agent. I talk about spirituality. I decode. I give spiritual advice. I just started this new thing called the Einstein tablets, which I guess we can get into like a little later.
facts.
Um, yeah, that's who I am. I'm evolving every second of the day. I've evolved majorly since our last interview.
Yeah,
Uh,
you've been no, you've been
yeah,
traveling. You've been
yeah,
the
and it's
tarot
so
traveler.
crazy. It's so crazy how like astrology works because I have my Jupiter return. I want to say April, and my Jupiter return is in Pisces in my 12th house. And Pisces, Jupiter, and the 12th house all have to do with like long distance traveling, foreign lands, foreign countries. And my first time
Crazy.
getting on a plane, I know this sounds crazy, but my first time getting on a plane was during my Jupiter return.
No
So
way.
here in April. And ever since then, I've just been like traveling, like local traveling. I guess long distance for me is just like far away states. So far, the furthest place I've been was Houston. Or is Florida further than Houston? No, I think Houston is further from me. Like I think Houston was the furthest. Um, and I'm traveling again next week.
Let's
Big place
go.
going. I'm actually going to three places.
Let's
I'm going
go.
Arizona, Joshua Tree, and Las Vegas for my birthday. I still return next week.
That's gonna be lit. That's gonna be lit.
Um, it's going to be a spiritual experience. And that's why I bring it
Facts.
up because, like, Joshua Tree in general has been something I've been wanting to do for like the longest.
What is
But
that if you don't mind?
so it's a desert in California. And like a lot of people go to it like on some like spiritual stuff. Um, It has a lot of Airbnbs. It's just like you're literally like just like camping in the desert.
Okay.
And the stars out there, well, from the pictures I've seen, are like beautiful. The nature is crazy. It's like you're really just going out there to be one with nature, I feel like.
Love
Uh,
it.
and that is what I'm in the mood for. It's what I need right now. It's what a lot of people right now actually may feel like they want to be in nature at this moment, because
Facts.
August is actually the heart chakra month and it's Leo season. And then it goes into Virgo season, which is all about healing anyway, and like connection to Mother Nature as well. So this month, like if you haven't felt called to nature, I really recommend going out and connecting with, the Mother Earth and grounding, because this is really the month to do so.
Fuck. I've been that's crazy because I've been called to go back to Colorado. I wanted to hike back in the mountains so bad.
Hmm.
That experience is crazy.
Yeah, I want to go to Colorado. I've never been.
It'll
So
be
I'm not
fun.
this.
Imagine you like having like a little, I can picture you like with a little camper's van and it's like
Hmm.
going through the mountains at like how your little squad and y'all just that'll be lit.
I've always wanted to do that too, like the RV road trip kind
You
of
gotta
vibe.
have a full experience if you go do it.
Yeah, yeah. There was
Gotta
even
have
like a point in time where I felt like I wanted to live in like an RV for a little bit and just like live off the beach or whatever. But
oh that'd be dope.
yeah, it would be dope. But also, I don't know, like me and tight spaces don't really get along.
What about like
So
a week?
how
What if you
long?
did it for a week? For a
I think
couple
I could do a week. No more than a week.
yeah.
Because like if I did that for longer, I would need to stop at like a hotel, an Airbnb, something
Yeah.
for a few days at a time.
What do like 5 days? I feel like 5 days is
5 days, maybe. Like if I'm like pushing my limits and I want to be like adventurous and stuff like that, sure. I think I feel like realistically, yes, it's definitely possible, but like I don't know how comfortable I would be.
no, not in that confined space. And let me ask you though, like how is it? So I know like the average, I mean, I'm not say the average reader, like this most readers um do audio and over the phone, but you're like traveling and interacting and learning like and just meeting these amazing people. So like
Mhm.
how are those connections and like how was that vibe?
Okay, so astrology wise, I have a Capricorn 11th house. So like really quick astrology lesson. The 11th house is like our house of social connections, social networks, our hopes and dreams, a whole bunch of things. But the stereotype around the 11th house is like your connection to your friends, right? Or like how you view friends or what kind of friends you have. So me having a Capricorn 11th house is kind of like me making friends through work or my business being my best friend or something like that. And I was just telling my friend the other day, like, I generally feel like my friendships are going to come through these in-person readings. And it's already like, that's already been a thing. Like, there's been times where like, I'm wild, but like, I'll do an in-person reading with somebody and I'll spend the rest of the day with them. Like we go get drinks, like we hang out. That's happened on like multiple occasions where like I just like extend the reading and I'm like, you know what? I don't have anything else, to do for the day. Like let's hang out.
Oh yeah.
And it just have been such a great experience because I used to do the online readings.
Hmm.
So I would like record a reading, send it to the email. But honestly, that got too stressful for me, too overwhelming. It was just like, I think because I left like my availability so open to the world and didn't really
Hmm.
like think about how many people I was reaching,
Yeah.
it got to be too much. Like too many orders, too many people pulling on my energy, even if it's not like through communicating with me, through just like energy wise, like doing so many readings, it's just like too much. Um, and ever since I stopped, so I don't do the online readings anymore. Ever since I stopped it and kind of just been planning it around like divine timing and when I'm going on like trips, when I'm traveling and just taking like in-person readings, I feel lighter. I feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Every
Mm.
single in-person reading I've had has been an amazing experience. I haven't had any bad experiences with anybody. I feel like the universe is aligning me with like who I need to give messages to and then
Yeah.
receive my messages openly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like positive, genuine energy. And like the experiences have been great, and I like wish I did this a long time ago, but I think I need it, just like when you have a business, and I'm 23, I'm young. I don't think people know how old I am, but well, I'm about to be 24 next week, but this is like a business, and I'm 23. It's my first, well, not my first business, but my first official big business, I guess you could say. I've always had like little side hustles and things like that, but this is my first real business that's reaching so many different people. So you're gonna have ups and downs,
Yeah.
highs, lows. So I think I don't regret how I did things. I think I really needed it to kind of show me, okay, that's not for me. Like online readings is not for me. I'm clearly supposed to be doing the in-person readings, the one-on-one, like really connecting with people's energies. Because it's so easy too. Like sometimes when I'm doing the online readings, like although they were very accurate, I never had a bad review for a reading, not to like to my own horn or anything.
Flex.
Like I've always had good reviews, and it's just something about that in-person connection, like you can't beat.
And
And
that's what we want, the human
exactly.
interaction.
Exactly. And I just feel like it gives me like the ability to explore the world and
Big facts.
actually like socialize, you know what I mean? Because I
And
used to
that's
have the thing where I was too much of an introvert, too much of a homebody, too much of a hermit, which I mean, I guess I needed that too, because that gave me crazy spiritual awakenings, like
yeah,
being
it was a foundation that you needed.
exactly. So everything's divine timing. So like now it's time for me to like come out, socialize,
Spread your
actually interact
wings.
with people. So yeah, it's been a great experience. I love the in-persons. Again, this is definitely what I'm supposed to be doing. This is definitely how I'm supposed to be doing it. And I don't think I'll go back to online readings. If I do, maybe here and there, but the in-person
Yeah.
for where it's at.
No, I can definitely understand that. Do you see yourself? Because I know you mentioned it before, but like, do you see yourself like going to like London and just hanging out there?
For sure. Especially because like I feel like I have some sort of past life connection to London. I always used to be like, I want to move to London, even if it's just for like a year or like however long. I always,
Yeah,
for some reason, it's odd. I would get the time frame of a year. Like I would move to London for a year. So that could still be a thing. I don't know. But yeah, I want to go to London.
that'd be
Like,
dope.
yeah, that would be awesome. And people have asked too, like people ask for all different types of locations, but I want to say London, like out of the US, London and Toronto are the two places I get asked.
Ooh, I can see you in Toronto.
Mhm. Yeah, Toronto would be cool. And I feel like as of now, like, so 2023, I want to like expand, go outside of the country and stuff like that. So I feel like as far as readings go, the first place I'll probably do it will be like Toronto. I feel like it's the easiest, makes most sense.
That'd
So
be dope. I can definitely see you doing that. Hey, this is a whole you changing the game for real.
I know.
You are changing
And
the game.
yeah, I feel like I've been manifesting this too. Like,
You have.
yeah, because I like was manifesting like years ago. I used to manifest being like a paid traveler, like somebody who like travels and like gets paid for it. Uh,
Yo.
Obviously paid traveler, but like um I didn't think it would be in this way, but I think this was the exact way that it had to be it. You know what I mean? So
This is even better than you could have imagined because
yeah,
you're
and
doing
that's
what you
how, like
love.
exactly, and that's how a lot of manifestations work. It's like sometimes we don't know how it's going to manifest, and sometimes we
Yeah.
don't even realize it manifested
Yeah.
because it's not the way that we had picture or imagined until we're sitting or like, damn, I manifested this. Like,
It's even better than I could have imagined.
yeah.
The
And it didn't
tiniest
even kick
detail.
in. It didn't kick in until I was sitting. I was like, wait, I low-key get paid to travel. Like,
Come on
that's what I
now.
was manifesting. Like, I literally like when I like realized that and put two and two together, I was like, wow, like I manifested that. Like, that's crazy.
Let's dive into creation. I know um a lot of people who are listening who are like new to manifesting their reality or like seasoned vets or just like the OGs of the OGs. Just what's like some tips that you do in your reality that keeps your vibration high and like little things you do.
Okay. So the first thing I'm gonna plug is a new YouTube video that I just dropped
Plug.
weeks ago. Obviously, like you'll have the links and stuff
Yeah,
like
I
that.
have a LinkedIn. I have a link.
Yeah, because I can't remember my exact name on there. I think it's like Dr. Indy Einstein, or it might be
That's
my
cool.
old name. I'm not sure, but regardless, I just put a video out, and it's called the Manifesting Journal. And it's basically about how to hack your reality, how to hack your matrix, and how to really manifest like your dream life through this manifesting journal. So that is like the core as far as like routine goes,
Hmm.
my manifesting journal, because like other than that, I don't have a solid routine or ritual that I do, because I always say when you are living in alignment, you don't need to manifest like crazy. You
I
don't need
agree.
to be in the kitchen doing rituals. And there's nothing wrong with that, because that definitely like helps to ground it in easier and like maybe even quicker sometimes. But when you're in alignment, you don't have to do things, you know?
It
And
just flows. The thing just like starts flowing into you just naturally.
exactly. And it's like every day
Yeah.
is like your dream reality. You know what I
You
mean?
run
Like
into
living.
people, opportunities come in, situations.
Exactly. Because I do get a lot of questions about that. Like, what do you do to manifest? Like, what's a ritual you recommend? And like, I'll share rituals here and there on like my close friends or my Patreon. But honestly, the biggest advice, other than the manifesting journal, even though the manifesting journal is going to help you to be in alignment, is to just be in alignment. Like, the life that you want to live, you'll
Just be.
never be able to align to it until you're actually on that frequency. So you have to live your dream life to align to
Mhm.
it. And I know that sounds crazy because it's like,
How does
oh,
it feel like?
like, yeah,
Because like I agree. I agree. Scripting is I used scripting when I was going through like I feel like not feel like I know now at that time reality was testing me like, okay, this is your contrast. Now script the next scene
mm-hmm.
to make your life better. And I just fell in love with scripting after that, because I was starting to see little things popping up in my reality. And then another thing, like you mentioned too, just like being the reality, like talk, like being delusional. Wow. Like for example, I was walking, we had a company event last week and I met this really dope dude named Sterling. He's into he's spiritual and based in law of attraction as well. And we were just walking. And I looked up at a condo and I said, "Wow, I left my lights on. This will be one expensive light bill." Just like playing around with reality like that, so it can morph into what you want. You got to play, folks. You got to play.
Exactly. Exactly. It's all about just being aware, like really like being aware, being conscious of everything that you're doing, moving with intention, like
Mm.
start to do that, like just being very mindful of the words you're saying, the thoughts that you have, the things that you're doing, the people you're around, the food that you're eating. Like when you're really intentional and like conscious and aware, that is like setting an intention. You know what I mean? Like, because you're intending to do something, you're intending to go work out, you're intending to eat an apple over, I don't know, a bowl of frosted flakes, like things like that. Like our intentions are everything. So once you're consciously aware about like all of your actions and the things that you're intending to do, that's manifesting. Like we manifest every single second of the day. Even if you don't realize you're manifesting, you are manifesting. You're just subconsciously manifesting versus consciously manifesting. So all the law of attraction and all those like, you know, spiritual buzzwords is just being aware
Yep.
of what you're doing, being aware of the words you're saying, being aware of your actions. That's really what manifesting is.
That's crazy when you break it down like that.
Mhm.
It's just simple. Talk to us about you brushed upon it earlier, but talk to us about Einstein tablets.
Einstein tablets. So this is something that like I don't even know like how came across the idea to do something like this, but I started Einstein tablets January of this year. So obviously like I had the idea in December of the fall of the previous year, but like the first one came out in January and I've been doing it ever since. We're now on the 8th month, which will be dropping next week. But the Einstein tablet
Congrats.
basically, thank you. And it's like it's crazy because like I don't know, like it just happens out of nowhere. Like the idea for it just like, I don't know, randomly came to me as a download. But yeah, so basically what it is a guide, I guess you could call it, or like a book, like, a collective of information, which I like to call it the blueprint, basically,
Love it.
where every month I'm giving information, spiritual information for your day-to-day life. Like every single day, there's like a different piece of advice for the day to follow. Information on like what nails to get, information on finances, in your personal life, love and relationships in your personal life, what occult rituals are happening for the month, how to prepare for that, astrological information when it comes to important dates and transits. It's just basically like a collection of spiritual energy and spiritual advice on
Mhm.
like how to navigate the month so that you can have the most successful month possible, basically. And it mixes a
Love
lot,
that.
like it's intuition, downloads, astrology, numerology, a whole bunch of different things that I use to like create the blueprint or the tablet. And yeah, it's just a Bible of spiritual advice for the month,
That's
basically.
that's a dope. That is absolutely dope. I had a question come through for the show. Someone was asking how would your relationship with money, how would you recommend someone who's struggling with their shift in vibration and money, how would you help them?
I guess the first thing I would say is when you're doing something you're supposed to be doing, and when you are aligning your career or your way of making money to your purpose or your spiritual mission, you're always going to be abundant. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I think for me, that was like the biggest thing that I had to learn was putting my spiritual mission or like my soul purpose first, and the money just eventually followed. So I would say, like, really advice for manifesting when it comes to money is one, being in alignment, which is just advice for any type of manifesting. Doing something you're supposed to be doing because you're always going to attract money. The second is um, abundance mindset, or like thinking in abundant ways, like rewiring your mind to just always see abundance, feel abundance, taste abundance, align to abundance, and just know that you're always going to be abundant regardless,
Hmm.
which could be hard on earth because we have bills, we have like things to pay for, we have all of these financial expectations that are on us as a human. So when you're shifting into an abundance mindset, it's going to be uncomfortable at first, which a lot of people, don't really want to hear when it comes to manifesting. Like,
Yeah.
there's times where you have to be uncomfortable. Like, think about a woman giving birth to new life. She has to go through 9 months of, I don't want to say it's all uncomfortable because it's definitely a beautiful thing, but essentially her body's changing. That's very uncomfortable. You know what I mean? She has to go through that for 9 months. Then the actual process of pushing out new life is very painful. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So that pain though creates life. So it's like, even or despite the 9 months of being uncomfortable and despite the 24, 36, 8 hours of labor, a very painful process that can be, but it creates new life that was so worth it. And I think that's one thing too that I like want to say for anybody when it comes to manifesting is there's going to be times where it's uncomfortable. And sometimes it might be a long time while it's uncomfortable, but you have to like push through because it's that friction that will create life. So going back to the original statement is basically just like you have to be willing to feel some friction in order to get to your manifestation. So when it comes to money, you have to be willing to switch some things up to, be, I hate the word broke, but you're gonna be broke for a little bit. But just keep the focus of aligning to the career or the spiritual mission that you're supposed to be aligning to, and the money is going to follow. Like, you're going to be good. And I say this from experience. Like, I'm not just saying that like, you'd find in like a book or something that you can
Yeah,
like
your
Google.
story is a living proof. Just practicing what you know.
Exactly. Like, I want to say it took me from 18 to how old I am now. Like, I feel like I really got to where I wanted to be financially when I was like 22, end of 21, early 22. So from 18 to like 21, 22, it's like 3 or 4 years of highs and lows. Now, there was definitely some times during those 3 or 4 years where I was really high and I was like living good. And there's definitely times where like I was at my lowest, homeless, sleeping outside. And most of the times it was the latter. You know what I mean? It was a nonstop grind, a nonstop hustle. But I did that for 3 or 4 years for it to pay off into what I have now. And that entire time from 18 to 21, 22, even though I was homeless, broke, X, Y, and Z, not the entire 4 years I was homeless, but like one of the experiences within those 3 or 4 years, even though I went through all of that, was stressed out, mad, like family issues, times where I didn't know what I was going to eat for the day. Sometimes all I had was like a bottle of water. Despite all of that, I still was taken care of by the universe. Now, it wasn't how I'm being taken care of now. It's not as blessed as I am now, but I was still able to survive. And all of that paid off to where I am now. Now, I experienced financial freedom. And I don't know, it's just like one of those things that you really just have to experience.
Yeah.
Like, I can't give someone like
Here's the formula.
yeah, because especially because everyone has a different life path.
Mm,
Some people are supposed to struggle for 2 years, some people for 10, some people for like a month, some people are born into wealth. Like, and I know that's hard
yeah.
to like hear. That's just is what it is. And of course you can manifest and change that, but manifesting and changing that is still a process that you have to learn and come across and go through to create the wealth that you want. You know what I mean? And then sometimes
Mm,
you lose that and then you have to do it again. So it's like, it's a process. So that's why I always say just live in alignment, have an abundance mindset. So no matter what you have physically, you're straight until you really manifest it physically. You know what I mean?
yeah. Cause it's damn. Cause like when people like if somebody's going through something, it's for somebody who's listening to this, they'll be like, well, I didn't choose to go through this, blah blah blah. But it's like because I have these conversations with people, and of course, it's like a level of awareness, right, with how you're able
Yeah.
to really dive into it. Um, but it's like whatever you're going through, like what you know, like for example, I had to really confront myself with death this year, with losing my dad, and all knowing I had just flew out the window in that moment because you're grieving, you're mourning, you're just like, wow, like this is really happening.
Yeah.
And then you can easily like if you stay left, I wouldn't even say left, if you just go the opposite for so long and get lost in that addiction of feeling that negative emotion, that's how you'll get stuck, right?
Mhm.
So then having to be reminded, okay, these are your fundamental knowings. If you know how things are ran in this reality, what happens after death, blah, 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 blah. You have to stand on that and actually put that into practice. And now
Yeah.
I have that relationship on the other side now
Mhm.
as well. And then what you with going through life experiences, we can preach that, yeah, we believe in this, we know this is real, blah blah blah, but the fucking universe go put your ass to test and say,
Mhm.
hey, Okay, show me, show me. And that's when you see what I'm saying?
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Like the universe tests us. And it sounds so gruesome, when you say it like that, when people are
Yeah,
going through things, but it's like we go through things. Like me and you were real people who have gone through, hell and back.
yeah,
And we can sit here and tell people, like, no, this is life. Like, this is how it is. We aren't people who are sitting from like, even though I like to think that I'm privileged and I feel like I earned privilege. I think we all have a privilege. I'm not
yeah.
here and say like, oh, I'm not privileged, but it's not like me and you're sitting from a place where we've always been privileged or we've
You have
always
to
experienced
go
the high.
get it.
Exactly. We've gone through it. So like, just for anybody listening, like manifesting the law of attraction, getting what it is that you want in life, getting what it is that you desire, it's a journey. Like it's not going to be easy. It's not just some step-by-step formula. Oh, how can I become a millionaire? You know what I mean? It's like, are
Hmm.
you destined to become a millionaire at the age that you want to become a millionaire? You know what I mean? Even though you can have
Yeah,
reality and free will exists, destiny is still something you have to have a dance with. You have to
yeah,
juggle. And we can have these plans for ourselves. So we could definitely manifest these plans, but it's like, are you ready for
hmm,
what you want to manifest? And are you ready to go through what it's going to take, you know, for what you got to manifest? It's like, let's say if spirit told you, okay, a year from now, you are going to become a millionaire, you're going to win the lottery and you're going to win millions, but you have to lose X, Y, and Z. Would you be willing to do that? Would you be willing
mm,
to go through that to get what it is that you think you want to manifest?
yeah,
At that point, it's like, okay, you could answer the question and say yes, or you could say, you know what? No, I value X, Y, and Z. So maybe I don't really want $1 million. Maybe it's something else I'm looking for. You know what I mean?
mm.
Mhm.
I feel that. I feel that. I know. So I know people would hate me if we didn't talk about like Chrome and Beyonce. I know you want to, live.
Yeah.
I don't. I know people. I listen to what people want from Dr. Indy Einstein. Let's get into it. I know you wanted to. What's some things you've been downloading recently?
It's so hard because I'm like constantly downloading
I
things that it's
know.
like when it comes time to talk to, it's like, damn, what did I just like talk about? You know what I mean? Like, um, let me see, like where can we start? Hmm. Well, I guess we have to start with the obvious, which is the major shift that we just experienced on the 5th of July,
Hmm.
which is this portal thingy.
You think?
Let's talk about what that ushered in for, society and what this means and what it doesn't mean, because there's a lot of information out there with like, one thing about me is I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
I am a channeler. I am a medium for spirit, you know,
We
I
get our shit
connect
from
with this.
source.
That's what I do. I don't play into and like, no offense to anybody who does, but I don't base life around fear. And I don't base life around like hearing about, you know, a theory and then just running with it without actually sitting with source and seeing what's real and what's fake. So that's the first thing. So
Disclaimer. Disclaimer.
disclaimer. So it's been so much going around with the CERN stuff, especially on a fear level, and I could get it when these things happen. It's like, oh my God, like what's gonna happen? Like we're all gonna die, but we have to sit and think about all those times where we thought the world was gonna explode.
Oh yeah.
And 2020, well, no, 2012,
Yeah. They said the world was ending.
the world was ending. There's been so many times,
Still here,
uh,
by the way.
still here, still rocking it out. I mean, like it just is what it is. And even though we've had major shifts because of these things, it's just not in the way that we think. So I just want everyone to just like remember what's supposed to happen is always going to happen.
Mhm.
And like, what can you really do about it? Like, if the world
Okay.
really did end tomorrow, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what do you want to cry about it? Do you want to like I don't know, like
Because it's nothing you can
somehow.
do.
Exactly. So what
Just
that should
surrender to the
teach
moment.
everybody is the fact that like it's not about stopping the end of the world. It's about learning from the end of the world and learning what that end is going to bring in and learning your role and how you play a part of that. And ask yourself, have you been fulfilling that role? Have you been playing your part? If the world was to end tomorrow on a spiritual level, do you know where you're going next? Did you start to manifest your next life? Did you start to manifest your next mission? Are you ready to transition? These are the things that we have to focus on, you know?
Mm.
And this is why I say, not to get off topic, but this is why I say
No.
the ego is so important. A lot of people don't want to admit it. A lot of new age spiritualists, get on me for this. And they say, no, the ego is bad. You need to kill your ego. But the ego is our spiritual protection. And the ego is literally your piece of the puzzle, right? So think of like a big jigsaw puzzle, and it's like 100 different pieces. Each jigsaw puzzle looks differently. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it's built differently. So this could be one puzzle and this could be another puzzle. Like, you know, this
Yeah.
looks different than this, but it doesn't make this better than this because they need to come together to create this. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Or they need to come together to create this, or whatever the picture needs to be. We all have our own role. And, you know, love and lightism, like I like to call it, wants to just focus on this, but you can never get to here until you realize, oh wait, my ridges are different than your ridges. Why are they different? Then we could focus on coming together, right? So why your ego is so important and why the goal when it comes to being on earth, like we're on earth, like that's one thing I feel like people forget. We are on earth. We are human beings. You know what I mean? We have bodies, if you apply pressure or pain to our bodies, they're gonna bend, break, snap,
Mhm.
pop, explode, whatever the case may be. But we are humans. We are humans at the
Kaboom.
end of the day. You know what I mean? And people who go against the ego forget that your ego is your vessel, it's your ticket onto earth.
Mm.
So imagine you're buying a ticket to go to an island for vacation, right? The ticket is your ego. That's the only way you can go to this other island. And if you don't have the ticket, you can't go. What's the point in buying a ticket or having a ticket if you get to the island and you're like, I don't want to be on the island anymore? You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
the island is bad. The ticket is bad. We need to go back to, where we came from. Like, I feel like so many people are trying to escape reality through trying to remove themselves from the ego. Removing yourself from the ego is literally like the same equivalent of drinking too much and being knocked outside of your body because you act
Ooh.
out. Like your soul is departing or your spirit is departing or taking the back seat to another spirit being or entity because your spirit is escaping from the hardships of, you know, the feeling of being poisoned by alcohol, basically,
And
essentially.
they call it poison too.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is when people are constantly trying to escape from who they are, their I am, their ego, to be these spiritually enlightened people, not realizing you came to earth for a reason,
To be human,
to be human and to
navigate.
discover your purpose from the human level. So then you could apply it when you transition. You haven't died yet. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like maybe in different ways, but you haven't physically died yet. So you are only supposed to get rid of your ego when you physically transition into your next life. You become a different I am, you become a different puzzle piece, but you take within your DNA those lessons that you've gotten from your previous life or your human life if you're becoming something else. But us trying to kill the ego or like trying to remove ourselves from the ego is removing ourselves from these life lessons. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
And while we're here,
Yeah.
because like what we were talking about earlier, like those life lessons, they it's like they build characters. So like if you plan, have you ever played Grand Theft Auto?
Yes.
Okay. So guys, life is like Grand Theft Auto.
Mhm.
And if you're playing a boss level, not, if let's say you're playing Mario or whatever the case may be, each boss level helps you level up, right? After you're done with that board, the next level you have some new armor, some new powers, something is increased in you. And that's what life mirrors to you, is you have newfound awareness. You could realize, hey, actually I want this, or self-love about yourself, or this, maybe that hardship was the reason why your gifts was unlocked. That was part of your code. That was part of your plan.
Mhm.
We need this. I've been starting to look at life as like a pendulum, right? It has to go on both sides. You have to ride the highs and ride the lows, but don't get too extreme on either. They both serve contrast for the other. If you didn't know what you didn't want on the negative end of the contrast, quote unquote negative, because it's all subjective, you wouldn't know what the next experience is.
Mhm.
Ran over.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's like the pendulum, like you were saying, between, the earthly realm or the material realm, or being a human, going back into the spiritual realm, or being a different being, or being a spirit, or even going back and being recycling your energy for the greater good, like turning into like a planet, or going back to source and being used energetically for whatever plan source has. Like, it's the swinging back and forth of the conscious and the unconscious. And it's so funny because, part of new age spiritualism is that you're woke, or you're conscious, but it's like the ego is the conscious. So if you're woke, you rock with the ego. So why are you trying
Yeah,
to kill
that's
the ego?
true.
If
That's
you kill
true.
the ego, you are unconscious. You're dead. Like, you know what I mean? Like, or you're
Yeah.
sleeping. But you can't sleep forever. If you slept forever, you wouldn't learn anything. You wouldn't be living. So that's all I'm saying.
That
All I'm saying. When it comes to the ego. And I don't even know how we got here from CERN. Like,
I forgot that we started off
like,
on certain angles.
I don't even know how we got here, but I guess it was a message that needed to be, heard by somebody. And this is like how my mind works when it comes to like
Just go off.
downloads or thoughts or like conversations. Like, I'm all over the place. Like, I gotta.
Because it's so much coming at us, and I realize when I start thinking or like pausing to think about what I said, it just fucks everything up, instead of just spelling out and at the end of it say, okay, I hope that made sense, whatever I just said.
Exactly. Like, I call it Einstein mode because Einstein suffered from dyslexia and like things like that. So whenever I'm like, because when I talk, I don't care. I trip over my
Yeah.
words, I trip over my tongue, I stutter. Oh well, like, that's just like something that I embrace about myself. I used to hate it, when
Mm,
I did, and I would stutter because like in my astrology chart, my Mercury is retrograde. So like sometimes it's really hard for my mouth to keep up with my brain because my brain moves at like light speed, which
yep.
I'm blessed that it does do that, but sometimes it's hard to ground it into like human words.
Mm.
So I like to call it Einstein mode. Like, I'm just like 2 in the 5D right now to really talk like a human. But yeah, like my mind is all over. And especially now because I'm going through like crazy Kundalini activation right now. Like,
Mm.
I've been going through this on and off for many, many years, but I would always tell spirit to like slow it down or to stop out of like fear, whether I was consciously doing it or subconsciously. Uh,
Wow.
but now spirit has taken the reins and does not care at all. Like, they're like, you're going through this freaking,
Yeah.
and like, you are going to feel it. So like, I'm not even going to get into like everything right now, but the symptoms that come with the Kundalini, like activation or reactivation or reawakening, is like my energy is just like moving faster and faster every day. Physically, that translates into me overheating, me wanting to cry every single second of the day because my body's trying to release all of this energy that's like, it's like, imagine like you have a water bottle, right?
Mhm.
Not to promo this, but
You're all
you have a
good.
water bottle, and like the water bottle can only be filled to here.
Right.
Sometimes Kundalini want to take it up here. And it's like, you can't take all that energy at once. So it's like your body's constantly trying to release, like pour out like energy and water through
Wow.
crying, dancing, moving. Sometimes like people like I've experienced this, will have like seizure like movements, to the point where like when I was younger, I thought I was having like actual seizures. And then, they diagnosed it as panic attack. So really it was what's going on with me. And
Yeah.
it's so much energy that just wants to like come out. And because I'm
Damn.
not like,
Max
nurturing
capacity.
exactly, like it just so that's where I'm at right now. I'm all over the place. I'm finally calmed down since yesterday. Like I want to say since my Jupiter return, like April. And there's something about New York, by the way, that like really activates my Kundalini. I don't know what it is. It
Mm,
might be just the astrological energy and the way it matches with my chart, or just the astrological energy of like New York in general.
mhm.
But every time I go into New York, it's like crazy. And I was just in New York like a few days ago. So
Yeah.
like it was to the point where I was so happy to be home, even though I had a great time in New York with like the people I was around.
Just
I just
charged up. It was just too
yeah,
charged up.
I could not wait to come home and just like release. So lately
Damn.
I do like dancing. I love yoga, like Kundalini yoga, Yin yoga if you want to calm the energy down. Kundalini yoga if you want
Kundalini yoga is
to,
the shit.
yeah,
I did it once a couple years ago. And literally afterwards, it feels like you're walking on air. Like
exactly.
it is, I've never, and I haven't experienced that ever again. And
Hmm.
it was just something about that.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's crazy. Like Kundalini is crazy. Like, but once you like, I'm not gonna lie, it's like the balance of kind of like what we were saying with the pendulum. It's like the
Mm,
pendulum between heaven and hell with my Kundalini experience.
mm,
So especially because like in modern day living, when you have a Kundalini activation, it's not going to be easy. Simply off the fact that we are doing so many things as humans that don't align with like our higher self, that makes it hard for the Kundalini to gracefully move through like our different like energy centers, right? So, you know, we're drinking, we're smoking, well, not weed, I don't smoke, but like, people are drinking, people
mhm.
are smoking, people are, not getting enough sleep, people are drinking caffeine or like, not the good caffeine, people are smoking cigarettes, people are eating junk food. All of that sits on our vessel
Mm,
and doesn't like make it easy for Kundalini to like move through. So it's like Kundalini has to move through quicksand,
mhm.
in modern day times. So it's trying to push through that quicksand. So you're going to feel it, you know what I mean? Well, as it's
Yeah.
like trying to like climb through, it's going to be uncomfortable, sometimes even painful. Like for like weeks at a time, I used to just have this energy sitting, like it would work, its way up from my lower like chakras or energy centers. And it would just sit sometimes on my stomach when it was at the solar plexus, or sit on my chest. And it just felt like 24/7 heartburn when it was like
Damn.
going through my heart. When I was younger, it used to feel like my third eye was being stabbed repeatedly because it was just sitting like as like a tension headache right here, and it's crazy. Like
Damn.
it wouldn't be like a whole headache like all over unless it went to the crown, but it was just like sitting like right here. And that's what it's doing now too. It just is sitting here. It calmed down because I like meditated and stuff like that. Um, but it's no joke. It's,
Yeah.
a lot of people want to do it and I get it, but Kundalini is one thing I will say, like, that needs to be gatekept. Like, that's one thing for people's safety. Like, that
Yeah.
is not something you want to just jump into and like, woo, Kundalini spiritual awakenings. If you want to do something, I don't know, go maybe a third eye awakening. Even that is, you need to take your time with that too. But Kundalini, not something to mess with because people have gone crazy off of it.
Damn.
Psychosis, you know, have volunteered their souls to leave the earth through physical transition earlier, because we have multiple contracts and like multiple um periods where our soul can like leave earth.
Oh
So we
shit.
really have like multiple dates where we could like die basically. But like,
I've heard of that before.
yeah, so it just depends on kind of like sometimes either what's spirit wants based off of if you're fulfilling your role or not, or if you've already fulfilled your role, sometimes it's like time to leave. It could be up to you, free will.
Do
But
you
there's
come back too? Can I ask you a question? Like, do you come back and replay the whole thing like with the same body, or it's just like a different?
like when you leave
Yeah,
early.
let's say if you left early, because let's just say spirits like, okay, let's run it back. This ain't working. What are those
Uh-huh.
situations like that?
So normally, like if you aren't where you're supposed to be, or you're not doing, what you're supposed to be, and spirit has decided that you are so off track that it's just time for you to leave.
Yeah,
And that sounds so crazy.
I
I don't
know.
want anyone to be offended by that, but it just is what it is at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But it's like if spirit decides to like grab you and yank you back to like the spiritual realm or whatever, it's going to give you a different perspective to learn what it is that you're supposed to be learning, or to fulfill the
Mhm.
role, basically. So every lifetime we're in a different shade of the rainbow, or we're on a different angle when it comes to the 360 view of life. So, you know, one time you're going to be a 30-degree angle. That don't work out, you're going to be 90. That doesn't work out, you got to try 120. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
have to try all different shades of life in order to get the source perspective, because that's what we're working to, source
Yeah.
perspective. The source is it's all, it's not just the good and the highs and the lights, it's the bad, the ugly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All of
People
that. So
people
we have
scared to talk about that though. Cause
Mhm,
like I see a lot of, you know, love and light, and I'm not knocking love and light.
mhm,
But you also have to be understanding of the other side as well, because source is both,
mhm.
and both good and bad are just subjective to one's opinion and perspective.
Yeah.
Like a tweet you posted today, your intentions was pure. Somebody could have took it as bad,
Mhm.
and it's just like vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that is just the different perspectives that source, experiences. And thus, like, we experience the different sides of source, yeah, for the wisdom, and to be, to have the whole 360 view. But think about it like this: if you created a video game, for example, wouldn't you want to be all players? Like,
Hell
wouldn't you want to
yeah.
experience, like, who wants to be one player for the rest of their life? You
I
know what
want
I
to
mean?
play.
Like,
I want to play the villain. That's the most
yeah,
interesting character.
you know what I mean? Like, we want to be all these different types of people because we want to explore what we've created from every perspective.
Mm,
That's essentially what source is, compared to all of the different people, different shades, different sizes, shapes, colors, um, animals, elemental beings, galactic beings, like all these different ways of living, or different bodies or entities of existence. A source exploring its video game, basically, and wanting to be player one day, player three, player five, and there's levels to it. So player
mm,
one may be his best character. He has gotten, he's unlocked all of the levels with player one. So that's like the supreme being. But then maybe player 3,623, isn't as good as player one, but you still want to try him out and see what
yeah,
he can do, and like maybe what he could do better than player one, and then how he could work his way up to surpass player number one. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
that's essentially what this all is, basically.
That's a great freaking example. If somebody ever asks like how does all this work, that was a perfect example.
Yeah. One thing about me, I love my analogies. I feel like that's the easiest way to like
It
make
is.
sense for people. Yeah.
Like imagine your child at like 5, 6 years old.
Mhm.
Mom, how do you explain this? And you just break it down exactly like that. They're like, ah, that makes sense.
You know what they say, if you can't explain it to a child, you don't understand it. You know what I mean? So
That's true. Because sometimes I'll interact with my niece, and like I've realized with children, they take you. It's like they don't even try. It's like they stripped that adult cloak you wear, and
yeah.
you both are just interacted in your pure inner child state, and then you'll break things down in a way that they understand it. And like you said, if you can explain it to a child. Then I was like, damn, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
because children are the ones who are going to ask why. Well, why is it blue? Well, why is blue this color? Well, what are colors? Why do colors exist? Like, they're the only people, for the most part, who are really going to like
Question.
challenge us. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So this is why, like, if you want to get good at a subject or something, go to a child and have them just ask you all of the questions in the world about that subject and see if you really know, you know, what you're teaching or what you have just learned, you know?
That's crazy. That's crazy. I know. So, before we wrap up, I know, is there anything else that you wanted to share with? Because I know people. Uh,
I feel like I just have to like finish a certain thing. I guess I can sum it up really quick.
no, you don't have to. No, go ahead.
I know people are gonna be like, oh my God, this will be like, wanted to hear. So really quick, CERN. And I can make another video on this on like YouTube or Patreon or something to like really go into it. But CERN, basically it is the colliding of all worlds, right? So the lower realm is now the higher realm. The animal kingdom is now humanity. Black is now white. Yin is now yang. The sky has fell and became, the ground, or outer space is the sea. Things are flipping, but then things are like joining and becoming like one. So this is where all of these timeline shifts or illusion becoming reality and reality becoming an illusion, or our dream realm becoming our waking realm. This is what's happening with CERN right now.
Mm.
This portal. It's not what people think it is. One thing I just want to say really quick is like, when it comes to like, what's the word? Elites, I guess, and occultism.
Mm-hmm.
Elites are like everyday people, but they are masters at what they do because they hold information that we all could have access to, if we tuned in enough, and we could master it and even surpass what they've mastered, and then have a full range of control over what's going on. But what these elites do, like I said, they're just alchemists, they're magicians, right? They hold a lot of wisdom. They have a high frequency. People don't want to admit it, but they have a high frequency. You know what I mean? Like, because that's the only way they're able to get to different levels and to see different things that other people won't see, is because of their frequency. Frequency doesn't mean good or bad. Low doesn't mean bad. High doesn't mean good. But they have high frequencies basically. And they don't create the laws. They don't, or the big universal source laws.
Mm-hmm.
They don't create laws. They don't create energies. They manipulate energies. They influence energies. So the CERN portal isn't this like master thing that has been created and has never been done before and can exist without the help of source itself. You know what I mean? If we see source, or for some people their God, as these big supreme beings who have created everything, that means that creations can only exist with original energy. So what these elites do is they just utilize energy already coming in and they influence it. So CERN is basically their way of being able to influence the world, society, major events, X, Y, and Z, to work in their favor. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So all CERN is basically them opening up a portal that already existed. And the portal basically is like the electromagnetic barrier that hides Earth from everything else. The portal is just removing little by little that electromagnetic barrier, which is basically what some people physically would say is the ozone layer, which, by the way, that's the story behind global warming, just in case anybody didn't know. It's natural and it's actually not a bad thing. It seems like a bad thing because it's, messing with your perceived reality of life, but it's actually going to allow very magical things to happen.
Oh,
And
sure.
yeah, when you remove that layer, we get access. It's like I guess like the Garden of Eden, you know, we're in a false Garden of Eden. And we have bit the apple of consciousness, and the layer is slowly being peeled back. And now we get to explore all of the worlds. Now, of course, that comes with dangers, you
Yeah.
know, of course, it comes with a heightened energy for good and a heightened energy for bad. So, you know, lower level spirits are going to be able to have their way, but so are higher level spirits. You're going to be able to manifest 10 times more powerfully, but that's also dangerous because if you haven't grasped manifesting, which is most of society, you're going to be used to manifest a reality that the elites want, or you're
Hijacking.
manifest, exactly, or you're going to manifest a reality that is based off of like a low self-esteem or a poor ego. You know what I mean? Like
God damn.
that's all of this is. Like it's not like this big thing, like, oh my God, like they're, you know, they're bringing out the weapons, like, you know, they're bringing out the guns and stuff like that. Like, no, this is natural energy that they know, you know, it's been time for this layer to peel back. They know it. So they're using society to manifest what they want to do with that layer, which, you know, they're opening it up more and they're just taking advantage of it. That's what the elites do. They use other people's energies to manifest what they want. So how you
Damn.
fight back is you just take your energy back and then do what you want to do. You know, maybe you can create a universe or a society, or some people do that with like cults or whatever. I don't know. Or maybe you want to do something nice and I don't know, give your energy to help people. I don't know, whatever it is that you want to do, whatever it is that's your spiritual purpose or your mission or your reason for existing is valid in your way. But like that's all these things are, CERN included. Not
All
some
of
big thing that they have just created and it's just like, you know, this like portal of doom. It's literally just a blending of realities. So it makes illusion reality and reality illusion. So that could be a good thing because you can manifest your dream reality very
yeah.
easy, or that can be a bad thing if you're not conscious. You know what I mean? So I want people
Damn.
to be aware of what's really going on and what this really means so you can take control of it. They want you to fear it because then you're going to be manifesting fear in their favor. You know, they want you to manifest these things through fear, especially with these transits coming in, Jupiter and Aries, all that, you know, crazy stuff. Um, they want you to use fear to manifest whatever they want to create for themselves, not knowing that like CERN was like, I don't know about you or anybody listening, but ever
Yeah.
since CERN happened, life has been magical because I had
Abundant.
control of it. Like heart chakra activations, kundalini going crazy, like abundance just flowing to me. Like
Yeah.
I'm having a great time. I don't know.
I just
Like,
because the fundamental what I always just try to like preach on this show is like if you can just understand that you create your reality, like you just have to have that fundamental belief in knowing,
mhm,
then you can understand like why, like Indy said, the elites would try to hijack your mind to create the reality for you. And then when you adopt to these fear-based propagandas, like this whole, not even like just like you talked about this a little bit, part two of COVID, the monkeypox thing. Like if you adopt that freaking fear-based crap, and it's just creating that timeline and just all this
exactly.
all this shit. But all that to say, just ask yourself this question: does that reality feel great to me? Would I even want to exist in that reality? If it's a
Mhm.
no, then stop fearing it. It doesn't feel good. That means you're not supposed to be thinking it.
Exactly. They told people that if you didn't get a certain shot, you couldn't do X, Y, and Z. And people
Yeah.
like me didn't get it and been doing X, Y, and Z. Like
Facts.
it that like that stuff that they tell you, like, oh, X, Y, and Z is gonna happen. If you create your own reality, you're living in your own reality. It coexists within other realities, but you have your own reality that you can control. You don't have to live by other people's rules.
No, you
And
don't.
you know what you need to do that? A strong ego.
Come on
I'm gonna
now.
keep preaching for the ego.
Guys, this episode is brought to you by the ego. Please do not get rid of your ego.
Yes.
Have you seen, off topic, have you seen that Nope movie that Jordan Peele, what am I saying that dude name right? With it's that alien movie with the clouds, Kiki Palmer's in it.
No, did that come out?
Yeah, it's already out. It just came out, I
Really?
think.
What's it called?
It's called Nope. It's the dude that made people go kill me. I'm gonna lose my
With
black
the
card.
multiple people, right?
Yeah. Jordan, that dude, I can't think of his name, but he made the black lady with the mask. I can't think of the name. It's gonna kill me. It's gonna kill me. Hold on. Shout out to having a MacBook. Google. I'm gonna lose my black card for this. Nope. What is it? Jordan Peele. Yeah, I had his freaking name right.
Oh, okay, you got it. Yeah. I thought you were
But
trying to think of somebody else.
it was so apparently like the clouds were actually, oh, do I want to spoil? From what I'm seeing on the pictures, the clouds are actually spaceships. And it made me think about like, damn, are the clouds actually like those thick ones? Are they
Mhm.
like secret like bases that shift?
Mhm.
Just made me think about that.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah,
There's so many like movies that I have to like watch, but
I
I'm gonna
think
add it to the list.
I
Yeah.
think you'll be into that one for sure. But no, because I don't want to take up too much of your time. I always ask this last question to my guests. What would your message be to humanity during this time?
Message to humanity during this time, right now, in this moment, is to basically everything that I have been promoting since we started, this episode is, like I said, bring that word again. Ego. Have a strong ego at this moment because it's going to be your protection right now, and it's going to be your strongest way of manifesting. Um, Learning how to hack your reality by aligning to your soul mission and your spiritual purpose, which you do through the heart chakra. So spending more time with nature, spending more time with your inner self, meditating, um, grounding, and just remember that nobody controls you but you, and your reality is up to you. It's based off of your personal wiring, and it can be influenced, but it can't be completely controlled. You know what I mean? Everything is about consent. If you don't want to live a type of life, if you don't want to go by man-made rules, if you don't want to do whatever you feel like you have to do because that's what you were taught growing up, you don't have to do it. The world is yours. We're all just living in it, take control of that. And yeah, that's my biggest message, everything that we've been talking about.
Hey, I appreciate you being back on this show. It's kind of crazy how it's been a year later, but I love it.
Divine timing.
Divine time, man. Thank you so much for being on the show, guys. Hope you enjoyed this special treat. I know this is a supporter's favorite, and I'm super grateful for you being on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Guys, I'll post everything on the description link before. Love you guys. Peace.